everyone, and welcome to the program. I'm Sheun Wakimbaloye. The president is back in town. Yes, that was one issue which took major conversation online and offline. President Buhari last week traveled to China, and several issues were said to be on the table. After about 6 days, the president returned with his team on Saturday. The president has been criticized for his frequent overseas trip. But according to the presidency, his one-week trip to China had yielded over $6 billion in investment to Nigeria. The People's Democratic Party, and away from that rather, the People's Democratic Party will on Saturday, April the 23rd, commence its congresses across the different organs in 33 states. The congresses will lead to the party's national convention, which is slated for the 21st of May 2016. The party says 3 states are exempted from the congresses. They are Kogi, Ondo, and Edo states. And over to the issues concerning the governorship tattoo over the governorship seat in Kwara State. Governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, comes out victorious in his bid to retain the governorship seat in the state in the face of the contest from the PDP. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has dismissed a suit filed by the People's Democratic Party's candidate, Senator Simeon Ajibola. Senator Ajibola challenged Governor Ahmed's victory at the last year polls. According to the result released by INEC, Governor Ahmed polled a total number of 295,832 votes to defeat Senator Ajibola of the PDP, who had 115,220 votes. Well, today on the program, so many issues confront us as a nation, and as is, we're confronted with myriads of challenges begging for solutions. When we return, we will be asking some critical questions about the gains of President Muhammadu Buhari's China trip. Join us again. Welcome back to the program. President Muhammadu Buhari has traveled more than the United States president in the last first 2 years of the latter in office. President Buhari returned from China on Saturday, although he has been largely criticized for his frequent journeys. The presidency insists these travels are for the nation's gains. Femi Adesina, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, joins us from our Abuja studio to give details on what exactly are the deliverables from the Asian country. Thank you so much, Mr. Adesina, for coming on the program.
Thank you. My pleasure.
$6 billion, that is what we hear the president was able to bargain in terms of agreement in his trip with his team to China. What more can you tell us?
Well, I can just add that it was a splendid trip, very, very successful, and one in which, once again, Nigeria can be proud of its leadership, can be proud of its president, because we have noticed that wherever our president turns up, he has tremendous respect, and by extension, the country is also very highly respected.
Interesting. Nigerians will want to know what in specifics, what we are able to get from China. We understand that the presidency has come out to say it's not just going to be loans and getting money from China. It's going to be a mutually benefiting relationship with the country. But in specific terms, what are we going to get from China?
Thank you. Like I always say when the president travels and comes back, it is not like going to the market and then you come back home at the end of the day and they say, how much did you sell today? It is not usually in that perspective, because investments take time to yield. But this trip to China has been particularly productive because it's a continuation of what had been started by a previous administration. Like it is said, government is a continuum. And some of the things started by the Goodluck Jonathan administration have now been consummated by this administration through this trip. For instance, we know that China is so well endowed in the areas of infrastructure, while Nigeria today has plenty infrastructure deficit. So we have a lot to gain in the area of power, in the area of agri, in the area of housing, railway, transportation, generally housing, and so many other areas. And that is what has been explored during this last trip. Like I said, some of them were started during the last administration. Yes, they signed some agreements, but Nigeria didn't fulfill a part of the bargain. So the agreements were revisited. And this time you can be sure, because you have an administration that keeps promises in place, you can be sure Nigeria will keep its part of the bargain, and China, we believe, will also keep its part of the bargain. So in the area of power, of housing, of transport, of agri, of solid minerals, all the agreements that have been signed, we expect that both sides will keep their sides of the bargain, and very soon, at the shortest possible time, Nigerians will begin to see the effect, the positive sides of those agreements.
When we're talking about keeping our own side of the bargain, it looks so much to me that we were not, as a country, able to keep our own side of the bargain at some point. But this time around, if you tell us, what are these bargains that were revisited, the ones you said that was went to by the Jonathan administration, and what are the specifics? You've still not told us the specifics, Mr. Additional.
Yes, there were some deals, particularly on transportation, railway, on power, and all that. But there was counterpart funding, which Nigeria should have done, which the country didn't do under the Jonathan administration. Now that the agreements have been signed again, you can be sure that the counterpart funding from Nigeria will be done.
When you're talking about this counterpart funding, we understand the controversy over the Lagos-Calabar rail, the Lagos-Kano rail, which generated a lot of issues. Is that project part of the counterpart funding and the project China is considering to partner with Nigeria on?
That project has not been consummated yet from this trip. There are some projects that are still on in terms of signing of agreements. A technical committee has been put together to look at those agreements again, to fine-tune them, and they'll be signed at a later date. So that particular rail project is not among the things that have been signed yet.
One would be wondering now that we talked about the Lagos-Calabar, you talked about the rail. We understand that the Jonathan administration started the Kaduna-Abuja rail, which will perhaps be launched, or we'll find some ceremonies where that project will be launched. But tell us about those kind of rails. Which of the rails did Nigeria or President Buhari talk to China about, and when will the project start?
The rail that an agreement was signed on during this trip was the 2.5 billion agreement on the Lagos Metro Rail Red Line project. The Lagos-Calabar and the Abuja-Kaduna that you talked about are part of projects referred to a technical committee, which will be looked at again before agreements are signed. But I am sure the Transport Ministry can give further details about that.
So you're saying for sure now that we are able to secure an understanding with China on the Lagos Light Rail. That's what you're talking about right here.
Yes, $2.5 billion. That has been signed.
When will that start?
Well, I don't have all those nitty-gritty details. All I know is that the agreement has been signed, but the final details of the agreement, like when it will start and the time it will be delivered and all that, I can't readily say, unless we look at the documents that were signed.